Will you marry me? As I entered the cafe during a business trip, I saw a man proposing to a woman with a bouquet of bright red roses. However, to my surprise, that man was my husband. As I blinked in disbelief, an unknown woman nodded her head with a shy smile, and my husband beamed with joy. Congratulations! When I spontaneously shouted and clapped, the other customers also joined in the excitement. At that moment, realizing my presence, my husband turned pale and froze. When I approached the woman and handed her something, she beamed with happiness. I am Cindy, 48 years old. It has been 25 years since I married Brandon. 2 years into our marriage, we had our son, Michael, but Brandon hardly ever took part in household or childcare duties. I raised Michael while working, and now, as an adult, he has moved out to start his job and has become my business partner. With just the two of us left, I had hoped to enjoy some uninterrupted time together. But Brandon's routine involves day drinking beer and playing games on his phone during his days off. He spends a lot of time alone. Why don't we go out to a movie for a change? What? Hanging out with an old wife like you is boring. I'd rather play my games, they're hundreds of times more fun. Well, how rude. Ah, I got a message. I'm going out to hang with friends. Lately, Brandon has been dressing up and leaving the house with a spring in his step, humming tunes. It feels lonely, but I thought this must be what happens as couples age together. Then, one day, after finishing some work at my business trip location, I entered a cafe to grab lunch and saw a man kneeling in front of a woman. I'll definitely make you happy. Will you marry me? He was proposing to a woman in her late 20s with a bouquet of bright red roses. Could it be? Moving closer to see who it was, I realized it was unmistakably Brandon. What is this? What's going on? I was stunned. Never expecting to witness such a scene, I thought I was dreaming. Stunned, I stood there blinking as the woman softly spoke up. If you're okay with someone like me, I'd be honored. The woman, her cheeks blushing with happiness, accepted the bouquet from Brandon, who was grinning broadly. Congratulations on your engagement. As I burst out clapping, the other customers got caught up in the excitement as well. Cheers of "what a successful proposal" and of "best wishes" filled the cafe. Looking to see Brandon's reaction, he quickly averted his eyes. I'm sweating from the nerves. Excuse me for a moment. Brandon started wiping his face with a napkin from the table, but his sweat showed no signs of stopping. Ignoring him, I handed my business card to the woman, who initially looked surprised, but then smiled warmly after a moment. Oh, thank you so much. I'm glad to be of help. Feel free to contact me anytime. Brandon, seemingly oblivious to our conversation, asked the staff for a new napkin to wipe the sweat that kept pouring out. Losing my appetite, I left the cafe and sat on a bench in a nearby park, unable to do anything but stare blankly for a while. The worst. Should I have confronted Brandon right there? As I replayed the scene in my head, I grew increasingly sad. Finally calming down a bit, I took out my phone and dialed Brandon's number. However, though the call rang, there was no sign of him picking up. Unable to leave a message as it didn't go to voicemail, I was stuck. The next day, when I returned home from my business trip, the house felt unusually empty. Fearing the worst, I opened the closet to find that only Brandon's things were gone. And on the living room table, there was a memo mentioning that he wanted a divorce and a wedding ring left behind. I don't want to divorce without even discussing why. Driven by the need to talk to Brandon, I kept calling him. Finally, he answered the phone. Stop bothering me with your calls, he snapped. You plan to leave after 25 years of marriage without saying anything to me? I thought you'd understand since you saw me proposing yesterday. What's your reason for leaving me and being with that woman? I'm sick of looking at an old woman with wrinkles like you. I want to enjoy a second life with a younger woman. My husband said this dismissively, with a sneer. Do men prefer younger women? I no longer understood the meaning of our 25 years together. Feeling it was futile to continue, I was about to hang up when Brandon said, wait a minute. The woman I proposed to yesterday is named Vanessa. She was really moved by your business card. I didn't know. But your wedding venue is quite popular. Yes, it's booked solid for the next 6 months. I had given Vanessa my business card in a spur-of-the-moment act of sarcasm, right in front of Brandon. I thought this might allow me to keep in touch with her in the future. But while I said, "Feel free to contact me anytime," securing a booking at the venue would still be a long way off. So, I want to make Vanessa happy by having the wedding at the most expensive venue you have. Excuse me? Think of it as a kind of wedding gift from me. Also, I want to keep it a surprise for Vanessa until the day of the event. What is he talking about? It's impossible to organize a wedding without informing the bride, but Brandon wouldn't listen to any of my objections. So, I'm counting on you. And you should find someone good for yourself, too. After saying his piece, Brandon unilaterally ended the call. My mind was in turmoil from all the sudden developments, and as I listened to the disconnected tone, my heart filled with emptiness and sorrow. I couldn't bring myself to accept the divorce as time just passed by. Oblivious to my pain, Brandon kept leaving voicemails daily, asking, "Did you accept the divorce? Is the venue secured?" Hearing his insensitive remarks made me feel even more hollow, and slowly, my emptiness turned into anger. I began to wonder about the type of person the woman he chose was and started looking into it. And I could somewhat understand why Brandon chose her. I see. So that's how it is. Then, I made a decision. Just then, coincidentally, a cancellation opened up at the wedding venue Brandon desired, so I called him. I made up my mind to accept the divorce, and I've secured your desired wedding venue in 3 months. Come to the house for the arrangements. I don't want the staff to know we're separated. You finally decided to come around, huh? Don't you start crying on me. I'm over it, so you can relax. Relieved by my response, Brandon came to our house at dusk, seemingly in high spirits. In the living room, I served his favorite beer and told him that I accepted divorce through my lawyer, which pleased him immensely. This is our last supper, huh? Well, not exactly, but I have your favorite wine here too, so have a drink. After opening the wine and seeing his good mood, I decided to ask him something that had been on my mind. Hey. How did you meet her? I met Vanessa through the game I play on my phone. Why do you ask? I want to find someone nice, too, like you did. I'd also like to know how you managed to charm someone 20 years younger. She was an easy target because she's not used to men. Just a little kindness, and she fell right away. You certainly have a way with women, don't you? Flattered by my praise, Brandon started to explain in detail about his relationship with her. They got to know each other through chatting in the game. You know, she's actually quite a successful CEO. Just between us, I don't really find her attractive because she's not my type. So, you fell for her personality? Not that either. If she wasn't rich, I wouldn't bother with such a domineering and self-centered woman. I proposed because being with her means I won't have to work and can indulge every day. You're quite sly, aren't you? But since you managed to win her over, you really are impressive. Thanks for the enlightening story. After listening to his story, we started discussing the division of property, and he unexpectedly said, "She's rolling in money, so I don't need anything. I'll give you the house and everything else because you're the poor one." He even wrote a document to confirm it. So, the shared assets and the house are really mine, then? This is my gift to you as you embark on a lonely life alone. Be grateful. By the way, make sure you handle the wedding invitations and everything else. Surprisingly, Brandon had already brought the measurements of his fiancée and the guest list. By the way, I've told Vanessa's relatives that this is my first marriage, so none of our relatives will be invited. Okay, I got it. I'll make sure it's an unforgettable ceremony. Brandon waved happily and skipped back home. I immediately began preparations, ensuring everything was meticulously arranged. Before we knew it, 3 months had passed, and the day of the wedding arrived. When the unsuspecting bride Vanessa arrived, I informed her that this was a surprise wedding just for her, and had her dressed in a pristine white wedding gown. The venue was filled with many relatives, all in a celebratory mood. As the host, I announced with the microphone, "Now, let's welcome the bride and groom," and the wedding march began to play. Then Vanessa and the groom, dressed in a white tuxedo, slowly made their entrance into the venue. When it was time for the vows, Brandon confidently declared, "I vow to cherish you for life." However, Vanessa remained silent, her head bowed. What's the matter, Vanessa? Are you embarrassed? Well, a little. While trying to coax her, Brandon kept talking, but Vanessa looked increasingly uncomfortable. Suddenly, the photographer approached and said, "Dad, don't rush her, just give her a moment." What? Dad? Are you referring to Brandon? That photographer was Michael, my son, who often helps me with my work. Vanessa looked shocked. That's ridiculous. Don't say weird things. Even though you divorced Mom, did you forget about me? Anyway, congrats on the remarriage, Dad. When Michael conveyed his congratulations, the crowd in the venue began to murmur. In a panic, Brandon looked at me and signaled with his eyes as if to say, "Do something about this." Instead of saying okay, I winked at Brandon, then gave instructions to the staff. Suddenly, the lights in the venue went out, and a video of Brandon was projected on the white wall. It was conversation between me and Brandon, who came to house 3 months ago. All she does is work and play games, so it was easy to win her over. No matter how young, she's not my type because she's ugly. I wouldn't bother with such a strong-willed, self-centered woman if she wasn't wealthy. The attendees looked at each other when they heard the face and words of my ugly husband. Who was saying bad things about Vanessa when I asked him how he met her? Vanessa's cheeks twitched, and she clenched her bouquet tightly. Stop it. Please, stop. Enough of belittling people. Vanessa, don't get it wrong. This is all fake. Someone is trying to sabotage me. His face pale, Brandon was sweating as much as when he had stumbled on me at a cafe. Oh, I filmed it uncut myself. Did you forget what happened 3 months ago? Don't mess with me. You have no right to ruin my happiness. As Brandon tried to approach me in anger, Michael grabbed his arm to stop him. I took the microphone again and smiled at everyone in the venue. Ladies and gentlemen, apologies for the late introduction, but I am Cindy, Brandon's ex-wife. Vanessa's family thought this was his first marriage. But that was a blatant lie. He discarded me like trash after 25 years together. He really is a terrible man. I'm ashamed to have been deceived by him. Vanessa nodded in agreement, and Brandon looked bewildered. What do you mean? You proposed to Vanessa at a cafe, right? Well, she also gave me her business card that day. So I was the one who contacted her about the wedding dress fitting. I gave you her measurements, didn't I? You can't possibly prepare the perfect wedding dress with just that information. So, I met with Vanessa and showed her the video. 3 months ago, she trembled with frustration, biting her lip as tears of anger welled up, and she stood up shouting, "I can't forgive Brandon. I'll confront him right now." I suggested that since she was planning revenge anyway, we should do it where he couldn't escape. What a cowardly move. You're one to talk, proposing under the guise of being single just for Vanessa's money. Damn it. You've ruined my big day. I won't let this go easily. Too bad. You might not be safe before you can get back at me. Not only Vanessa, but also her relatives glared at Brandon with sharp eyes, surrounding him. Realizing he was in trouble, Brandon shook off his son's grip and began apologizing to her relatives, pale-faced. However, no one was there to defend him. Brandon, look at me. Vanessa spoke to him, perhaps looking like a lifeline to him. What? Are you forgiving me? But before he could finish speaking, Vanessa slapped him hard across the face with a resounding smack. The impact was tremendous, and a bright red mark of her hand soon appeared on his cheek. Ignoring the groaning Brandon, Vanessa deeply apologized to me and the guests, saying, "Thank you for everything," and briskly walked out of the venue. I apologize for the dramatic scene. The bride has left, so today's ceremony is cancelled. Please make sure to take your gifts back home with you. Don't you dare speak out of turn. With a handprint still on his cheek, Brandon, sweating coldly, tried to lunge at me, but again, my son restrained him. Actually, when Vanessa consulted me about what to do with the wedding gifts, I suggested returning them as they were. So, we were ready to return them immediately, with my staff handling the reception. You seem to forget something important. I'll be claiming the wedding expenses from you. What? Seriously? Please pay $100,000 for the wedding expenses in full, sir. That's too much. Isn't that supposed to be your gift? Do you think I'm an empty-headed fool? My gift was just to secure the venue. Oh. My bad, sorry. I got the wedding costs wrong. Brandon looked momentarily relieved and said smugly, I knew it. That was the price excluding tax. The accurate total is $110,000 including tax, so please make your payment by the due date. What? That's impossible. We don't offer discounts as this is from the venue. At least give me back my house. That's already sold. How about it? Wasn't it the most unforgettable ceremony ever? Ah. This is the worst. Well, everyone has left, so it's time for us to clear out. At my signal, the venue was cleaned up with astonishing speed. The only one left was Brandon, miserable in his white tuxedo. He collapsed as if his soul had left his body, rolling his eyes back. His life ahead will surely be tough. I bought a small apartment with the money from the house Brandon transferred to me and started living alone. Having my own free space made me realize how much I had been manipulated by my husband. Work is going well, I got a promotion, and I've been put in charge of a major venue. Somehow, after leaving Brandon, it feels like my luck has improved, and I'm looking forward to enjoying life to the fullest.